Good morning, dear students. Welcome to Social Science class. I am Tajunnisa from Vishwamanava High School, Sibara Guttinadu, Chitradurga. Today we are going to discuss about the Social Science revision class. The first chapter is Christianity and Islam. Now we are going to discuss about the fill in the blanks with suitable words or appropriate words. First one, the birthplace of Jesus Christ is dash. Here, the Jesus Christ was born at Bethlehem. Second one, the place of Jesus crucifixion is dash. The place of Jesus crucifixion is Golgotha. Here, in the Golgotha, the Jesus Christ was crucified on the Christ cross. Third one, the birthplace of Muhammad Payghambar is dash. Here, the birthplace of Muhammad Payghambar is Makkah or Mecca. Next, fourth one, the Holy Book of Islam is dash. Here, the Holy Book of Islam is Quran. Fifth one, the successor of Muhammad Payghambar are now dash. The successor of Muhammad Payghambar are known as the Caliphs. Sixth one, Dash was the first Khalif. Here, Abu Bakr was the first Khalif of the Muhammad Payghambar. Seventh one, Islam originated in Dash. Islam originated or beginning in the Arabia. Next one, the holy book of Christianity is Dash. Here, the Bible is a holy book of the Christianity. This is all about the filling the blanks with appropriate words. Next, we are going to discuss about the questions. Answer the following questions. First one, write a note on the life of Jesus Christ. Here, Jesus Christ was born in a poor family of Joseph and Mary at Bethlehem village near Jerusalem. Jesus Christ was born into a poor family, and to the Joseph, his father name was Joseph and his mother name is Mary at Bethlehem near the Jerusalem. He was born at Bethlehem. It is a village in the Jerusalem. Next one, he did not get proper education. Despite this he acquired a lot of religious knowledge. But because of poor education or poor, he was born in a poor family. He did not getting a proper education. In front of that, he acquired a lot of religious knowledge. He acquired a lot of religious knowledge. At the age of 30, he came under the influence of John Baptist and was baptized by him. At the age of 30, he came under the influence or he came under the teachings or he influenced from the teachings of John Baptist. John Baptist, he was a guru or he was a teacher of the Jesus Christ. Then he was called as a baptized by him. John Baptist, by getting the education or by getting the influence or teaching from the John Baptist, he was called as a baptized. Then he enlightened the people in distress by divine teachings and made them psychologically strong. After getting the education or after getting the many more knowledge in the religion, he enlightened, he gave a light to the people. Who are the people who is in distress means the people who are suffering or facing the many more problems in their life. To them he given the or he provide the teachings to how can they handle or how can they face the situation and make them psychologically strong. Next one, this made him very popular among the people and he was known as a Messiah or the savior of the people. Through this teaching, he going to teach this teaching to each and every people among the people. He became very popular and he was known as a the people was called him as a Messiah or the savior of the people. Next, gradually people considered him as a godly man. The princely class of Jews opposed this. Here, but the Jesus Christ was getting more and more popularity in the society. So the people was getting or by called the Jesus Christ was called as a godly man because he is helping the people through the religious knowledge or by providing the religious thoughts or religious teaching to the people. And then the priestly state, priestly means priest or the churches fathers who in the churches, that person was called as a Jews, or Jews means Yehudis. We are called them as a Yehudis. That person became jealousy from the Jesus Christ, then they complained to the Roman emperor. Roman emperor means they complained to the Roman king, and the Roman king called as a, or his name was Pontius Pilate, charging him for treason. After that, the Roman king, he was that name was Pontius Pilate. He was the emperor or the Roman king. He punished the Jesus Christ because he was teaching through the, or he is starting teaching against the um, against their thoughts. So he was punished by the Pontius Pilate. After the trial, he was taken to Golgotha on a Friday and crucified on the cross. After that, Jesus Christ was taken to the Golgotha. It is a hillock, or it is called as in usually we are called as a hillock means beta. We called as beta or hillock. On that, on the Friday, on a Friday, they taken to the Jesus to the hillock. That hillock was called as a Golgotha. On that place, the Jesus Christ was crucified or hang on the crisscross or cross. Hang on the crisscross at the this is all about the how the Jesus Christ was born and in a poor family, and he faces many more problems in his life. And after by getting the knowledge, or after getting the enlightenment, religious enlightenment, he provided that teaching to the people. By providing this teaching, he became very popular. And this popularity was did not faced, or did not faced by the church or the princely state of the Roman Catholic Church. These peoples are tortured or started hating to the Jesus Christ. Then the king Pontius Pilate was charging or punished Jesus Christ and hanging on the crisscross on the Golgotha hillock. This is all about the early life or the life of the Jesus Christ. Next, we move towards the another question. List the teachings of Jesus Christ. Here, what are the teachings or preachings of Jesus Christ? First one, God is one and He is the most merciful. He is the creator of entire creation. Here, God is one. The Christians or the Jesus Christ was teaching that God is one. He is most merciful. He showing the mercy on the people, and He is the only one creator of the all world or all the creation of the earth. Second one, everyone should develop brotherhood feelings among others. Each and every person who is living on the earth, they have to they have built or they have to develop the brotherhood feeling among each other. Next one, loving the people in distress is equal to worshipping God. Here, Jesus Christ was said, or he was teaching that loving people, we have to love the people. It is who is in distress. Distress means who is in problem, or who is suffering from any diseases, or facing some problem. That person we should love. By loving them, it is equal. It is equal to the worshipping of God, or praying to the God. It is equal to praying of God. Fourth one should serve others without accepting anything from them. If we are going to help someone, we are helping that person, but we did not accept anything from in return. So Jesus Christ was said, or he is teaching that one should serve or without others accepting anything from others. If we are helping one person, in return we did not accept anything from that person. Next one, serving people is equal to the worship of God. Here, serving people means helping the people is equal to the worshipping of God. Next one, if one repents from his mistakes, God will forgive him. If one person was doing if one person do any sin or any mistake in his life, After doing that mistake, he realized that mistake, and he was asking some sorry, or he has realized that mistake. Then the God will be forgive him. The God will be forgive him at any time when he was realize his mistake. Then definitely the God will be forgive him. Next one, love your enemy, do well to the people who try to harm you. Means Jesus Christ was always teaching that love your enemy. Whenever someone hurt you, or whenever some person was harm you, in return you should love them. Not in return you should also harm, or you should also hurt them. You should always love that enemy, because by loving that enemy, he also changes that character according to the Jesus Christ. This is all about the teachings of Jesus Christ. Next one, we move towards the another question. How did Christianity expand? In this question, we going to know that how the Christianity was expanded, or it to move towards one place to another place. First one, after the crucifixion of Christ, his disciples were tortured, some of them were crucified. Here, after the crucifixion, after the hanging of the Jesus Christ on the Christ cross, after that also many more disciples. Disciples means many more followers of the Christ Jesus, many more followers of the Jesus. They also hang or they also crucified on the Christ cross. During the time of Emperor Constantine, Christianity was adopted as a state religion. Here, during the time of King Constantine, at that time the King Constantine adopted the Christianity as a religious, or as a state religion. Through this adaptation, or through this following, the Christianity was expanded from one era to another era. Next, subsequently Christianity spread throughout the Europe. By day, the century to century, the Christianity was spread all over the Europe. Next, today, Christian churches are found throughout the world and have a large number of followers. Nowadays, we are seeing our surroundings. The many more churches are established already, and now also we are seeing that churches in our areas, in our states, and each and every place or country in the world, they having the Christian church, and the many more peoples are following the religion. The religion is Christianity. This is all about the expansion or the expand of the Christianity in all over the world. Next, we are move towards the another important question. Write a note on the life of Muhammad Payghambar. Here we are going to know the how the life or early life of the Muhammad Payghambar. First one, the Muhammad Payghambar was born in 570 CE at Mecca. His parents were Abdullah and Amina. Payghambar was born in 570 CE at Mecca, and his father name is Abdullah and mother Amina. He lost his parents during his childhood and was brought up by his uncle. After the death of his parents Amina and Abdullah, he adopted by his uncle. Then in Mecca he married widow Khatija. They had two sons and four daughters. After that he married a widow woman, that the woman name was Khatija. In the place of Makkah or Mecca, they had two sons. After that, the Muhammad Payghambar was had the two sons and four daughters. Next, he started meditation deeply for long hours on Mount Hira, and he achieved enlightenment. After that, he started the meditating. He started many more hours to meditate in a Mount Hira. In that place, he is meditating long and long hours. Through this, he achieving the enlightenment. He getting the knowledge of the divine knowledge. Got the divine knowledge. Then soon his principle became very popular among people. This known as Quran. By getting the enlightenment, or by getting the divine knowledge through meditation in the Mount Hera, he pointed, or he collected all the principles in a one book, or that holy book is called as a Quran. Next one, when Payghambar opposed polytheism, people of Mecca conspired to murder him. When Paigambar was started to teaching, polytheism means many more worshipping of the more than one god, worshipping of the more than one god, and polytheism means one only one god, worshipping of the one god. Here Paigambar was started opposing, or he started to teaching the people uh, through the opposition of the polytheism, and by stopping or by opposing the worshipping of the more than one god. But the people of Mecca was worshipping the more than one god. So the people of Mecca was became against to the Paighambar, and they started conspiracy, or they started planning to murder him. Then he after getting that information, he traveled from Mecca to Medina, because the people did not face him, or did not getting or feeling as a good person. They always hating the Paighambar. So he moved from Mecca to Medina when he became aware of this in CE 622. Here after that, after got that information about conspiracy, he traveled from Mecca to Medina, because the Mecca people started hated him. So he traveled from Mecca to Medina in 622. Then the people of Medina welcomed him, and they defeated the people of Mecca. Then the people of Medina was welcomed the Paighambar as warm welcome, and then the people of Medina was collected some army, or they collected some people, and they defeated the people of Mecca who disrespect, or who tried to kill the Paighambar. So the people of Mecca was faces the defeated by the hand of Medina, or people of Medina. Next one, Paighambar came back to Mecca. Finally, they also became the followers of religion propagated by Paighambar. Gradually, his principles spread all over the Arab region. Paighambar died in CE 632. After by winning the Mecca again, by again they win on the Mecca by defeating the people of Mecca. The after that winning the Mecca, the who were the people who against the Paighambar, they also started to love, and they also started to respect the Paighambar, because he started the teaching in a correct manner, or they also started respecting the Paighambar. At finally they get to the or they became the followers of Muhammad Paighambar. At last, all the principles, all the teachings was recorded into a book that was called as Quran. And at last, the teachings and principle was started spreading, or started expanding one place to another place. Then this is how the Paighambar was teaching, or this is how the Paighambar was giving information about what is wrong and what is right in the society, or in the Mecca. And then Paighambar was died in 632 CE. At last, he was died in 632. This is all about the This is all about the early life of the Muhammad Paighambar, or life of the Muhammad Paighambar. Next one, we move towards the another questions. What is Hijra? Here, when Paighambar opposed polytheism strongly, the enraged people of Mecca conspired to murder him. He traveled from Mecca to Medina when he became aware of this in CE 622. This incident is known as Hijra, the departure. Here, the Paighambar opposed the polytheism. The people who are worshipping the more than one god, to that thoughts, or to that feelings of the people, Paighambar was opposing, or he teaching in a correct manner, but the people was taking into a wrong manner. Then the people was started hating, and they planned to kill the Paighambar. At that time, the Muhammad Paighambar was travel from Mecca to Medina. The traveling process is called as a hijra. This is the hijra, the departure. Next one, what are the teachings of Islam? Here, the teaching of Islam are: first one, God is one. A simple prayer is enough to win the heart of the God. Here, God is one. God is one. No one. God. He is the one person, and we own the heart, and we own the feelings, or we own the love of the God through the simple prayer. Next one, One should lead a honest and principled life and should keep away from all the bad habits. Here, one should who are the followers of the Islam, they should always be honest, and also they always following the or adopted the life that should be away from the bad habits. Each and every person who following the Islam, that person should be honest and always he should be away from the bad habits. Third one should have respect for women and compassion for poor and weak. Here, who were the people or one who following the Islam, that person should be respect to the women and also compassion. They should show the merciful or pityness towards the poor and also the weak persons, who is a weak person in their society or in their religion. That person should having that concern and having the merciful towards the poor and weak, and also they should respect the women. This is all about the how the teachings or how the principles or preachings of the Islam. Next one, this is all about the first chapter, Christianity and Islam. Next one, we move towards the another chapter, medieval India and political transition. Here we are first we are going to discuss about the filling the blanks with suitable words. Here, the founder of Gujara Prathihara dynasty is Dash. Here, the founder of the Gurjara Prathihara dynasty is Naga Bhatta. He was the founder of Gurjara Prathihara dynasty. Next one, Prithviraj Chauhan defeated in the first battle of Tarain. Prithviraj Chauhan was defeated the Muhammad Ghauri in the first battle of Tarain. Third one, the prominent commander of Muhammad Ghauri was Dash. Qutbuddin Aibak, he was the prominent or famous commander-in-chief of the Muhammad Ghauri. Next one, the the first woman to rule among the Delhi Sultan was Dash. The first woman of the Delhi Sultan was Razia Sultana. Fifth one, the famous Sultan of Khilji dynasty was Dash. Here, Alauddin Khilji was the famous Sultan of the Khilji dynasty. Sixth one, the capital city was shifted from Delhi to during the rule of Tughlaq was Dash. Here, the capital city was shifted from Delhi to Devgiri during the rule of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Seventh one, Dash was written by Al-Burni. Al-Burni was written the book called Tariq-e-Yamani. Al-Burni written a book called Tariq-e-Yamani. Eighth one, Quwwatul Islam Mosque was constructed by Dash. Here, Quwwatul Islam Mosque was founded or constructed by Qutbuddin Aibak. This is all about the filling the blanks. Next, we are more towards the question and answers. Explain the administration system of Iltutmish briefly. Here we are going to discuss about the administration system, how the administrative system was prepared by the Iltutmish. First one, Iltutmish divided his kingdom into Iqtas provinces and appointed Iqtidars provincial officers to run administration. Here, Iltutmish was appointed the Iqtas, or he divided the provinces. That provinces is called as a Iqtas, and to look out the Iqtas or look out the provinces, he appointed the many more Iqtidars. Iqtidar means officers, provincial officers. He appointed the provincial officers to look out the Iqtas or provinces to run in a good manner. The administration should be going in a good manner, or it should be in a smooth running way. So he appointed the Iqtidars and also divided the kingdom into a Iqtas to look out the all the provisions and into a good manner to look out all the administration in a correct and holding manner. Next one, he appointed a group of 40 Sardars to advise him in administrative issues. Not only he appointed the Iqtidars and divided the provisions, he also appointed a group of 40 Sardars or group of 40 officers to advise the king in administrative issues. Whatever the issues was facing by a king at that time, the 40 Sardars should be advised to a king in correct manner, how they going to take decision and what is good and what is bad to the administration. In that way, the 40 Sardars was giving guidance to the king. Next one, the prime minister and judges was used to advise him. With that person, with the 40 Sardars, again the Altamash was appointed a prime minister and also the judges. They also give the advice and suggestions to the king whenever they're going to take any decisions to the people or to the goodwill of the people. Next one, Altamash brought gold and silver coins into circulation. Not only the provisions and appointed the officers, he also, and in the field of economy, he issued the gold and silver coins to into a circulation to the economically profit or in the revenue system. He circulated or he issued the silver and gold coins. This is all about the administration system of Altamash. Next one, what are the administrative reforms implemented by Alauddin Khilji? Here, what are the administration reforms was implemented by the Alauddin Khilji? Let's see, reforms in the administration. For what are the reforms was Alauddin Khilji was implemented in his administration? First one, he abolished religious endowments, inams or gifts, lands and subsidy. He abolished the religious endowments. Here, religious endowments means what are the gifts was given to the religious for the sake of religious activities. That endowments or that gifts and that lands was cancelled or abolished by the Alauddin Khilji. Next one, an efficient intelligence network was established by him. He also established a efficient or a very good intelligent persons to advise or to he established a network to advise him. Next one, he prohibited alcohol, drugs, dice games. He also prohibited the bad games or bad habits among the people. They drinking the alcohol, drugs and dice games, whatever the wrong habits or what are the wrong activities is going on in the society or in the administration. That activities was abolished by the Alauddin Khilji. Next one, he banned association formation among his sardars or lieutenants. He also banned the or he also abolished the association means group formation among the sardars. He abolished the group formation or the group formation or association among the sardars. Next one, farmers with minor holdings and also the big landlords had to pay taxes. Here both the farmers, they having the small land or the big lands, or the landlords or the farmers, both have to pay the taxes to the administration or to the kingdom. Sixth one, he appointed revenue officials to collect that fixed taxes from the farmers. He also appointed the officers or the officials to collect the taxes from the farmers. The farmers who having or they are holding some land, on the basis of that land they have to give some taxes to the king or to the kingdom. This is all about the reforms of the or reforms in the administration. Next one, military reforms. The salary of the soldiers given in the form of cash. Whatever the service was doing by the soldiers, that services was paying in the hand of the amount, or they paying some amount to the soldiers in the hand of cash or in the form of cash. Whatever the services or whatever the work they doing in the kingdom, the soldiers was getting the amount in the form of cash. Next one, the process of stamping the horses called Dagh came into effect. Also, the Alauddin Khilji was established a system that was called as stamping the horses, or to collecting the information about the horses. That information was collected, and they that was called is a Dagh. That Dagh means Dagh was came into effect, or through the Dagh and the information about the horses and also the persons who is handling that horses, all that put it into a file that was called as a Dagh. Next one, he created a system wherein the common people had access to pulses, cereals, cooking oil, sugar, salt, fuel at fair prices. This is the market system. In the market system, Alauddin Khilji was establishes or he created a system where the each and every common people had to buy and sell their goods such as pulses, cereals, cooking oil, sugar, salt, fuel at the very good prices and at a fair prices according to their cultivation, according to their irrigation facility, or according to their what they invest in the product. To that product they want to collect, or they want to collect, and also they want to uh, quality amount they getting in the market facility. Next one, similarly he established markets to sell horses and slaves. Here, not only the products or not only the food items which is going to buy and selling in the market system, but also he established, or they are establishing the market system where they sell the horses and also sell the slaves. And there was a slavery practice in that time, and that slave was purchasing and buying in the markets. This is all about the administrative reforms, military reforms, and market reforms of the Alauddin Khilji. Next one, we move towards the another important question. What are the administrative reforms implemented by Muhammad bin Tughlaq? Here, what are the administrative reforms was implementing by the Muhammad bin Tughlaq? He was a one of the prominent king in the period, or in the field of history. He was a one of the famous or prominent king in the Tughlaq dynasty. Let's see what are the administrative reforms he is established or introduced. First one, revenue reforms. An official record that had all the details of lands implemented by him. He established a revenue reforms. In that revenue reforms, each and every officers have to maintain all the details of the lands which they are going to hold, and which they have going to collected the taxes. Each and every information should be implemented or collected into a files. And then he established the Department of Agriculture. And also Muhammad bin Tughlaq was established a Department of Agriculture, where the taxes and also the irrigation facilities were provided to the people. All the details will be provided, and facilities were provided to the people in a agriculture department. Next one, the uncultivated lands were made cultivable. Whatever the waste land, whatever the unused land was in the kingdom, that land was converted into a cultivated land, or made converted into a useful land. Next one, this is all about the revenue. These 3 points are all about the revenue reforms. Next one, shifting of capital city, or shifting of his capital. He wanted to shift his capital from Delhi to Devgiri, because to establish the capital city at the center of the vast empire, and to protect the capital city from foreign invasions. Here, the main objective of the shifting of his capital from Delhi to Devgiri is that to save the capital city from the foreign invasions. And also the capital city should be in a central place. In the if we the capital city in a center, then he should be Muhammad bin Tughlaq, he should be maintain and control all the four zones: north, south, east, west. So it is the plan of the Muhammad bin Tughlaq to control all the four zones of his administration equally. Next, and protect the capital city from the foreign invasion. Whatever the foreign attacks was going on a capital city, to control or to win the emperor, or win the cities on that, and to stop the foreign invasions, he was move or he shifted the capital city from Delhi to Devgiri. Next, experiment of symbolic coins. He brought gold coin named dinar and silver coin named adli into circulation. Copper and brass coins were also brought into circulation symbolically. Here, he made a experiment to establish, or he issued the gold coin named dinar, and the silver coin named adli into circulation. But not only the gold and the silver coin, but also he establishing, or he also issue the copper and brass coins. Copper and brass coin was misused by the people, misused by the people who having some power in their hand. These persons was misusing the money, or misusing the copper and brass coins. Then all the treasury, all the economy and the administration was became emptied, because he transfer from Delhi to Devgiri, his capital from Delhi to Devgiri, and also experiment of the coins, and many more good information and good reforms also he done. But some mistakes he also done in his administration. He shifted the capital city from Delhi to Devgiri. In that time, he losses or face many more economical problem, because travel from one place to another place, it is not easy. In that place they faces lot of problems, and also he lost the economy, that in that also. And also, by introducing the brass and copper coins, the common people also started printing the coins, and by printing the coins, they issuing in the market. And through this process, the treasury, or the economically loophole, or economically burden to the administration. This is the main important points of the administrative system and revenue reform, shifting of his capital city, experiment of symbolic coins. This is all about the administrative reforms which is implemented by the Muhammad bin Tughlaq during his period. This is all about the second chapter, medieval India and political transition. Today we are going to stop here only. In the next class we are going to discuss and revising the many other chapters also. Thank you each and everyone.